Touching down on the war in the Middle East, Slovenia has announced the recognition of the Palestinian state, joining other EU countries like Spain, Norway and Ireland. The country's Prime Minister, Robert Golob, who made the disclosure during a press briefing, said his government would recognize Palestine as an independent and sovereign state. He said the decision sends a message to both sides, which is the cessation of hostilities and release of the hostages as soon as possible. The Prime Minister called for the world to act in one direction. The Slovenian decision requires parliamentary ratification, although according to media reports, none of the parties are set to oppose the move. The World Health Organization, the United Nations Children's Fund and the UN's main Palestinian refugee agency are voicing deep concern about the health situation in Gaza. The agencies lament the struggles faced by doctors in Gaza, noting their health condition is dire. This is all coupled with the influx of injured people and lack of adequate medical supplies. The agencies have also reiterated their call for a ceasefire.
An enormous struggle for all the medical teams to meet the needs. And this is one of the hardest things for a doctor or nurse. You know you want to help, but you don't have what it takes. And you are watching people who shouldn't die in front of you because you simply either lack the tools, the skill, or the supplies to do what needs to be done. Fuel is particularly critical, as you know. The estimated requirement is 200,000 litres per day, and we have been able to get in approximately 70,000 litres per day at best. Some days none, so that's an approximation over what's been able to get in. So all the hospitals are really struggling and making decisions about what they can do. It's not simply the bombs, it's the lack of infection prevention and control, the lack of being able to provide the level of surgery that could save a limb. Decisions are having to be made by doctors to remove a limb to save a life.
When we return. Gaza conflict in focus as Chinese President Xi Jinping hosts Arab leaders in Beijing for the 10th ministerial meeting of the China-Arab States Cooperation Forum. Please stay with us. Welcome back. Chinese President Xi Jinping has welcomed leaders of several Arab countries to Beijing for the opening ceremony of the 10th ministerial meeting of the China-Arab States Cooperation Forum. Delegates from 22 Arab states are attending this summit. Among them are presidents of the United Arab Emirates, Egypt, Tunisia, and the King of Bahrain. The Arab leaders' visit to Beijing comes amid growing global concern over Israel's war against Hamas and the humanitarian situation in the Gaza Strip. During the summit, President Xi reiterated the call for an independent Palestinian state as well as international peace conference. The second China-Arab States Summit is expected to hold in 2026. In the meantime, protests are continuing around the world following Israel's military operation in Rafah. In the Netherlands, Dutch police forcefully dispersed and arrested a group of pro-Palestinian demonstrators outside the country's parliament in The Hague. The protesters who rallied to condemn Israel's assault on Rafah were seen clashing with police who made widespread arrests. According to officials, the Dutch government backs a two-stage solution, but also a proportionate response by Israel to the Hamas October 7 attack. Earlier this year, a court ordered the country to stop exporting fighter jet parts to Israel, citing the risk of violations of international law.
This is happening not in my name. I am for justice, and it's terrible what's going on there. I hate the Israeli government, not Israel, but what they do. So I agree with all what's going on here. This is terrible. I feel ashamed to be Jewish. So that's why.
I think it's really important, as my sign says, that we should be like all human again and like care about all the humans on the planet and literally be like the human expectants. It's like, yeah, treat like everybody with love and not like this, how we're doing it now. So yeah.
Well, it's a similar scenario in Paris, where thousands of pro-Palestine demonstrators flooded the streets of the French capital in response to the devastation in Rafah. Protesters gathered at Place de la République to demand an immediate halt to Israeli military actions in Rafah. They also advocated for France's recognition of a Palestinian state following Spain, Norway, and Ireland's official move. While the demonstration commenced peacefully with chants and music, tensions escalated as night fell and authorities resorted to using tear gas to disperse the crowd as riots started on the streets. Staying in Paris, a session of the National Assembly descended into chaos on Tuesday. Why, you may ask? It all happened after a member of parliament identified as Sébastien Delogo raised the Palestinian flag during a debate on recognizing the state of Palestine. Mr. Sébastien was immediately escorted from the room while other politicians could be seen applauding him. Reacting to this, the national president, Yael Braun-Pivet, suspended the session and said that the action was not tolerable. Speaking to journalists after the incident, Mr. Sébastien said that he waved the Palestinian flag because France, in his words, sells weapon parts to supply Israel army. He also added that what is taking place in Gaza is genocide.